Last night, I was in my room, pretty bored, turned on my TV, and I saw that KSI, in real life, had launched. If you don't know, it's KSI's brand new documentary. So I decided to watch it. Can't lie, I was a little hesitant going into it, since the last thing I watched from KSI outside of YouTube wasn't so good.
Two friends, one night, one mission.
Yeah, that's right.
But surely it could only get better from here. I jotted down some notes while watching it, just in case I wanted to make a video on it. And here I am, making a video on it. Because why not? You guys know that if it's a steaming pile of shit, I won't hold back. I will tell you guys not to watch it. I will tear it limb from limb if it's 90 minutes that I can't get back of my life. However, I have to say, watching this, I was pleasantly surprised at how much I enjoyed it. Also, before I get into this, I'm just gonna talk about it, the whole thing, so if you want to watch it without spoilers, this is your warning. As you can imagine, the documentary focuses on his life as an influencer. However, when you're watching it, he's a celebrity. When I think of an influencer personally, I think of someone, you know, in their room making videos or vlog content. KSI is on a different stratosphere compared to, I'd say, 99% of influencers. And it definitely shows in this documentary. We get to see a ton of behind the scenes, his day-to-day life, generally how busy he actually is. From making videos, flying to LA to record a new album, launching new businesses such as Sides. As you can imagine, he has a lot going on. Unsurprisingly too, focuses a lot on his music. We get to see the behind the scenes of his first festival performance and his UK tour. As I mentioned earlier, he seems busy a lot, always looking for the next big project, and the documentary definitely shows him reaping the rewards of his success, most notably him buying a £10 million house in London. Definitely very impressive and fun to watch someone splash the cash, but that isn't what this documentary is truly about. It's what I thought it would be about going into it. KSI, I'm so successful, I'm so rich, look at me. Because we all know KSI is rich and famous. However, the true beating heart of this documentary is KSI's relationships in his life, from romance to family. We get to see the side effects of fame and how it puts huge strains on his relationship. This lets us see KSI at his most vulnerable, and like we probably haven't seen him before on video or camera. In the documentary, he breaks down when asked questions about the relationship between him and his parents.
Just have someone like, hug me and say that, like, I love you.
And we see him remove the song he made called You from one of his UK tours because at the time he was having troubles with his girlfriend who he wrote the song about. It's definitely refreshing to see KSI actually remove the KSI bravado and see him as just a regular person with emotions like the rest of us, and not someone who is hell-bent on dominating the world and crushing anyone who gets in his way. We get to see what means the most to him other than money and fame, which seems to be the relationships with people around him. And I gotta say, as someone who watched KSI since the FIFA days, the early FIFA days, I guess it was a bit surprising at first to hear that him and his parents have this very strained relationship, especially with his dad. In old videos, in Q&A Sundays, like, they seem to always have such a good time, seem like they were really close. KSI especially goes into detail with the relationship between him and his dad, saying that as kids they used to get punished through beating, and that his dad never showed him any real affection growing up. KSI also goes on camera and says that he always thought his dad loved Deji more than him. Speaking of, we also, of course, get to see the relationship between KSI and Deji, looking at the infamous Christmas Day beef that we very much remember, going all the way up to the Alex Wasabi fight that Deji lost. You know, interesting to see. It's something that has been a lot more public and viewers have seen, so it was nothing really brand new. I did, however, I found myself feeling sorry for Deji. Seeing KSI so loved, so popular, you could see in the documentary, as well as, you know, in real life too, but it's enhanced a bit more, that all Deji really wants in life is KSI's validation. And all KSI really wants in his life is validation from his parent. I do have to say though, one thing I found really odd that they put in was after the Wasabi fight, obviously Deji's gutted, he just lost. You see KSI go into the locker room and, you know, lay into Deji.
I'm terrified of losing.
And basically tell him, you know, why are you still losing? What are you doing? It ends quite well though. It ends with KSI saying he'll always have Deji's back if he continues to box. Generally, I found it quite heartwarming. It seemed KSI said everything that kind of needed to be said. But then it cuts to the next few days and KSI is like roasting Deji online on his YouTube channel in a video, you know, slating Deji for his loss against Alex Wasabi, as if he didn't have a chat with him after the fight. I don't know why, I just don't think it came across well for KSI, that part of the doc. It seemed like everything that needed to be said to Deji had been said after the fight, and then doing it online for everyone else, I mean, I don't really know what other purpose it served other than to humiliate Deji a bit. Whereas before this documentary, I kind of just assumed KSI hadn't really chatted to Deji, so it was just a video he made and Deji was going to watch it. And KSI doesn't need the views, so it just kind of baffled me. That was probably my only criticism of the entire thing. Maybe one other thing that came to mind, and the only time I had to, you know, press that 5-second skip button a few times just to get away from the scene was when KSI was recording a song with his Grammy award-winning songwriter and stuff. They all started singing, and I don't know why, it just kind of cringed me out a bit. I'm that kind of guy. If someone starts singing randomly, I get really cringed out, so I just felt uncomfortable watching it. It isn't necessarily KSI's fault. I'm sure many people got through that just fine. It's just a personal thing of mine. But I mean, for a 90-minute doc, that to be my only two gripes or things that kind of stood out to me to say really isn't bad at all. The in-depth look into the family dynamics ends with essentially KSI confronting his dad about the issues he's had with him.
It's okay, Dad. I'm not angry.
So we're good.
Well, I feel like, obviously, the communication could be better.
I need to work on my communication skill. I'm very bad at it anyway.
I know. It's not too late for you to change.
All the things he felt that he did wrong as a parent, and like not in a horrible way. He's not like rinsing his dad, cutting him down. Just more of an honest chat in KSI's £10 million house. And, you know, through that conversation, you can tell it's clear KSI's dad has had a rough upbringing. His dad didn't show him any love or affection, so he essentially did that to KSI as a dad himself. It ends heartwarming, ends with an embrace between the two.
How's that?
Yeah, it's okay.
Love you, Dad.
Love you too.
You know, it was a nice way to wrap that part of the documentary up. Another dynamic we get is KSI's 3.5-year romantic relationship. You get to see him through the ups and downs of that, which, you know, to a lot of people is very relatable.
But I could just sense that he's lonely.
So me and my girlfriend aren't together anymore.
Throughout the documentary, he breaks up with his girlfriend, but by the end, we're told they are actually back together. This part, you know, wasn't as interesting as the family dynamics, mostly because we don't know who this girl is. We don't get an actual in-depth look at that part of KSI's life, which, you know, is fine, to be honest. He wants to keep it private. Completely understandable. If you're KSI, or anyone really with a public profile, you gotta keep things private and for yourself, and relationships are definitely the best thing. Because look at most celebrity relationships, look at most vloggers, like Jesse and Gina, who vlogged their whole life at Prank versus Prank. It ruined their relationship. You know, you gotta keep some shit private, and I completely understand KSI doing that. But overall, I really enjoyed this documentary, more so than I thought I would. It was shot well. The story of KSI anyway, in general, is interesting. But add the extra layers, the vulnerability, the family dynamics, it's even better and actually becomes an interesting watch. If you're someone who just enjoys KSI as a content creator, even if you don't love him to death, you still enjoy it. Even if you just love YouTubers in general and you're not even that invested in KSI, it's just interesting to have a behind the scenes look at a creator at the top of their game. So if you have 90 minutes spare to kill and you have Prime, definitely recommend watching it. If I had to rate out of 10, probably give it an 8.5. I think that's a fair enough rating. It's the first of its kind in my eyes that I've seen a documentary, like a good one, made of a top creator. Got me thinking, you know, they should do more. Amazon definitely should cover way more creators. There's a lot more stories in this space that I would like to see told. Comment below right now, who do you think should have a documentary made about them, like how KSI has? I'd be interested to see who you guys would want. And yeah, that is it for this video. Thank you for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed this review. I'm just trying to make more content in general, so I thought this would be a good video to make. I like reviewing stuff. I reviewed Prime as well, if you want to look at that video. Subscribe if you're new. Lots more content coming. Just gonna, you know, put out a variety, see what people like. And yeah, that is it. Thank you for watching. Until next time, fuck off.